Good morning, Chillie Falls here with Chillie's Cruises. Live coming to you from Forest, Virginia. A little bit off schedule again today, but cheers, everybody. Getting a little sip of coffee here. A little bit off schedule, and let me explain why before we get to the Carnival Vista and a bunch of other stories this morning. First of all, as you know, I normally do my live broadcast at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. That's the live broadcast for travel and cruise industry news. I had last night a very important appointment set for 10 o'clock this morning, my time. And it's one that I wasn't in a position that I could say, oh, I can't do it at 10. I need to do it at 11 or whatever. So I've got a business appointment this morning that I just did not feel comfortable getting out of. So I said, I'm going to go live early. I'll get it up and post it online. And hopefully anybody that's looking for the live broadcast will find the video replay, which will be on YouTube and cover us that way, because we've got a bunch of stuff to cover. Most of you know the last several broadcasts have dealt with exclusively with the tropical storm / hurricane Barry down on the Gulf Coast and affecting New Orleans and Mobile, and it has gotten pretty much back to normal there as the storm, of course, has moved north, broken up. Of course, we're getting rain all over the a good bit of the country now because of it, but still, as it relates to the cruise industry, that's all fixed. So we regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie Chats when I interview some folks, and of course the 3 live broadcasts of travel industry news on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It's supposed to be at 10 a.m. That's what's supposed to be this morning, but that's why. But anyway, if you want to keep up with any of those, hit the little subscribe button, which is down in the lower right-hand corner. A little red button says subscribe. Just click it, and there's a bell notification. If you click on that, you'll be notified as soon as I'm live or as soon as I post a new video. Now, something crucial comes up in the interim between now and when I go live again, which will be Thursday morning. I'll stick a video up to cover it. And of course, if it's a major story, I'll go live and get on that way. So anyway, something happens, I'm gonna get the information to you as quickly as I can. Now, getting on to the, so anyway, just click the little subscribe button. And the other thing that I always ask to do when I think about it is hit me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing. If you don't like what I'm doing, hit me a thumbs down. I don't care about that either. It just tells YouTube that somebody's watching and paying attention. So anyway, and if you're new, because our subscriber count keeps inching up, we're up just under 1,400 now. Should hit 1,400 in the next day or two. That's not a real big channel, but it's growing, and that's good, and I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, there's links down in the description of the video when it's up to do things like go to the Facebook page and Twitter, and of course our Amazon link. And there's also, I was somewhat being tongue-in-cheek humorous about taking Michelle Obama with you on your next cruise. I was not making a political statement, folks. Don't take it that way. But that is a best-selling book, and it's a link that takes you to Audible. So you can take Michelle Obama's book with you on your phone or tablet or any kind of device and listen to the book while you're on the airplane, for instance, going to your next cruise, or you're on the ship sitting out in the sun with your feet propped up in one of the lounge chairs, sipping on a little drink with an umbrella in the top. But anyway, it's a link to Audible. I use Audible myself. a lot. And if you follow that, and there's some kind of special, I think it's $4.95 or something for 3 months, and you get 3 books free or something like that. I don't know the specifics of it. But anyway, there's a link that'll take you to Amazon. And if you end up buying anything or going on and doing some shopping with Amazon through that link or the other link that's in the description, then this channel makes a few little pennies, which of course helps support the channel. And we do appreciate that. All right, getting on to the story, because I got a bunch of stuff to cover this morning, because I was dealing for days, it seemed, with the storm and trying to monitor things and getting information to you. So I've got a bunch of stories that have stacked up that I want to bring to you and try to get as much as we can done in my allotted time this morning. All right, the primary thing is Carnival Vista. Did get to Grand Bahamas, to the repair area, and was loaded onto the Boca Vanguard over the weekend, which is a semi-submersible heavy transit vessel operated by the Netherlands-based Boskalis. The heavy transport vessel brought the Vista out of the water, allowing engineers to begin repairs on the Azipod propulsion system. Now, those of you that have followed this all along know what an Azipod is. I didn't until this started happening the last couple months ago. That's the basic propulsion system on the new cruise ships today. It's all computer generated, and there's been several circumstances of ships having problems with the Azipod system, the Carnival Vista being one of the worst, and they were dealing with it for over a month before they could get the ship over to the Grand Bahamas, which was damaged. The repair area when a crane fell on the Anthem of the Seas, one of the Royal Caribbean ships that was there for the same repair several months ago. But anyway, that docking area is still screwed up, so they used this Boca Vanguard, which rendezvoused with the Vista in just off the coast of Freeport. It took approximately 24 hours to complete the loading, and the Vista is now up out of the water in the floating dry dock. After being offloaded from the Boca Vanguard, when they're done, the Vista will depart Freeport and resume its year-round Caribbean schedule. They still say on July 27th. So that is 11 days from as I'm broadcasting this. Anyway, and folks, I've mentioned before, I'm terrible on technical stuff. So I have, at least to my knowledge, no way that I can switch over from a live broadcast like this to a picture. But there is a picture of the Vista up out of the water on this thing. It's really, I mean, if you know the size of the Vista, that's a huge ship. But what I'll do is post when I notices on all my outlets, Facebook, Twitter, all that business. When I post the notice that this broadcast is live, I will do it with a picture of this floating dry dock with the Vista up out of the water. Pretty cool. So anyway, look for that. Since I have no idea how to do that on a live broadcast, there might be a way. I'm just not smart enough. So that's it for the Carnival Vista. Okay, couple stories that there are some cruise stories in here, and there are some non-cruise stories. This one, I guess you would call a cruise story. What better way to celebrate National Nude Day, that's nude, that's naked, nude, than by booking passage on the Carnival Legend for their longest trip ever, the Big Nude Boat 2021, which will spend 2 whole weeks sailing the waters of the Caribbean, departing from Tampa on February 14th, 2021. The ship will make stops at Mahogany Bay, that's Roatan, Cologne, Panama, Cartagena, Colombia, Bonaire, Curacao, San Juan, and Nassau, as well as enjoying 5 days at sea before returning to Tampa on February 28th. And everybody on the boat will be naked. Now, folks, trust me, this old fat guy's not going on a nude cruise. I'm not saying that. I like the story. I know some of you folks that are nudists, that's fine. I can't do it, but you can, so be it. But there's going to be a whole bunch of you guys on a boat. It's totally be a private cruise, so there won't be somebody like me that doesn't get naked on the boat. I do understand that the nudity on these things, I've never been on one, so I can't directly reply to that. When you go to eat dinner, like in the dining room, you have to wear clothes. But the other activities on the boat is okay, nude. And of course, when you go into port, you got to have clothes on because you've got, kids on the dock and things like that can see under the boat. And so they don't do that. But when you're at sea, I guess you sit around in the bars and the pools and, I don't know, casinos, I don't know, and naked. And if that's your thing, then fine. That's your thing. It's not mine, but that's anyway. And if you want to, if anybody is interested in that, send me a link, send me an email, send me something, some comment, and I'll get information to you on it. If you want information. But that's a 2-week nude cruise in 2021. Moving along, Egypt has opened 2 of its oldest pyramids to visitors for the first time since 1965. And believe me, folks, I'm going to slander some words here, so don't fuss at me. Antiquities minister's one thing I can say. Khalid El Anani told reporters over the weekend that tourists are now allowed to visit the Bent Pyramid and its satellite pyramid in the Dashur Royal Necropolis, which is part of the Memphis Necropolis, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Both are located about 25 miles south of Cairo. The Bent Pyramid, which was built during the old kingdom of the Pharaoh of Sneferu at about 2600 BC, is unique in that it has 2 internal structures. El Anani said the Bent Pyramid represents a transitional form of pyramid construction between the Djoser Step Pyramid, which was 2667 to 2648 BC, and the Meidum Pyramid, also about 2600 BC. And folks, those pronunciations are probably wrong. Anyway, there's 2 pyramids that are open to the public for the first time since like 1960. And if I remember correctly, they closed them. They had to close them down because of weather damage to be repaired and maybe some looting of thieves. I'm not sure all the reasons, but they're now open to the public. El Anani also announced the Egyptian archaeologists have uncovered a collection of stone, clay, and wooden wooden something or another, sarcophagi. Oh, sarcophagus, it's like a sarcophagus. Some of them with mummies in that area. He said archaeologists also found wooden funerary masks, that's funeral masks, along with instruments used for cutting stones dating the late period of 664 to 332 BC. So that's some pretty neat stuff. Obviously, cruise ships don't go to Cairo, I don't think. No, they don't, at least not that I know of. But I mean, there are cruises in that area. So this would definitely fall under the category of travel news as opposed to cruise industry news. Okay. The world's first there goes my tongue again. Yeah, of course. Remember, folks, it's 6:30 in the morning, and I'm still working on my second cup of coffee. Which I'll have another sip of. Thank you. The world's first hybrid electric-powered cruise ship will be the world's first ever to be christened in the Antarctica. MS Roald Amundsen, Amundsen, which has just recently joined the Herdegruten fleet, will be the first ever cruise ship to have its naming ceremony in Antarctica. The ceremony will take place this fall, and as the ship is named after polar hero Roald Amundsen, it only makes sense to be christened in the remote region. She has departed on her maiden voyage off the coast of Norway, which happened a couple weeks ago, and the ship has groundbreaking green technology and has reduced emissions more than 20% compared to other cruise ships of the same size. That's the cool part. Despite my slaughtering of Norwegian words, which I do, I slaughter English words. But anyway, not only it's been christened in Antarctica, which is kind of somewhat unusual, it's never been done, but because it is electric battery operated. I have not seen all of the technology behind this. They say it has a cruising speed of 15 knots. That's not as fast, of course, as some of the other cruise vessels. It only holds 530 passengers, so it's not a huge ship, but it's the large battery packs and groundbreaking green technology, and that's good. As much as I love to cruise, I hate the fact of what it does to the environment, from the emissions into the atmosphere, from the plastic and crap that's used on them, like straws and stuff. And of course, a lot of the cruise lines, at least this past year, have started changing that, and that's a good thing. We all have to be better at protecting our environment. And I don't care if you're conservative or liberal, it doesn't matter. We all have to get better, because if we don't, we're in trouble. And when you get whales and porpoises and some of the things that we love to see when we're on cruises are getting killed by plastic and stuff, that's just awful. But anyway, electric powered cruise ship, that's something you might see it more of in the future. All right, a scary little story here. Dozens of people were violently slammed off the ceiling of a jetliner that encountered unexpected and intense turbulence over the Pacific Ocean. And this goes all the way back to Thursday, when we first started dealing with our storm over here. An Air Canada flight to Australia made an emergency landing in Honolulu after 37 people were injured, 9 seriously, during the sudden loss of altitude that sent people flying into the luggage compartment and aisles of the airplane. The flight from Vancouver to Sydney, Australia, encountered unforecasted and sudden turbulence about 2 hours past Hawaii. The pilots and staff ascertained that there were some pretty serious injuries involved, and turned around and got in and made an emergency landing in Hawaii. Of the 37 passengers and crew members, 9 had serious injuries. The emergency responders said 30 people were taken to hospitals. The turbulence happened at 36,000 feet, about 600 miles southwest of Honolulu, said Federal Aviation Administration spokesman Ian Greger. The Boeing 777-200 was carrying 269 passengers and 15 crew members. Scary thing. I mean, we've all flown a lot, and you know, thankfully, I've been through some turbulence before, but never any really serious turbulence like that. But wow, that scared the bejesus out of you. So feel sorry for those folks. All right, another story that, again, it's not a good one, and it doesn't have to do directly with the cruise, but certainly has to do with travel and something you guys need to be aware of, because I've heard some stories since then that this may be spreading to more areas. But a Tennessee man died from a flesh-eating bacteria over the weekend after a trip to a popular beach in Florida. The Memphis man's family said they knew some bacteria can infect through open wounds and cuts, but they had no idea his compromised immune system may have put him at risk too. Less than 12 hours after visiting Destin Beach in Florida, the gentleman's daughter said that he started feeling ill, and once the family returned to Memphis, a large black sore developed on his back. Red bumps showed up on his arms and legs. Of course, they rushed him to the hospital where he died. This apparently his immune system was compromised because he'd been through cancer treatments recently. And apparently that weakened the system enough that this flesh-eating bacteria got a hold of him. This has happened several times along the Gulf Coast. I just saw an article during the night last night when I was up and checked my phone for news, that a case was reported off the coast of Virginia. So the bottom line for this, folks, if you're going to be getting in the ocean anytime soon, if you just recently been through chemo, not a good idea right now until they find out what the devil this is and do something about it. But if you have any kind of cuts, open sores, any kind of system where your skin could be compromised at all, play it safe. Don't get in the water until we see what's going on with this. That's just awful. You go to the beach and you come home and die from being in the water. Wow. Talk about something that'll screw up the travel industry. Obviously, we don't think that's going to be a long-lasting effect, and I'm sure they'll come up with what it is and figure out why and hopefully do something about it. Okay. Carnival Cruise Line and I've got two stories about Carnival, and both of them are positive for a change. Carnival, which has been through so much negative crap in the last, 2 years, 3 years now, their stock has taken a pounding. It's lower than it's been forever. A lot of people have lost a ton of money on Carnival stocks, but they've had one problem after another, and a lot of them self-inflicted, folks. I'm not saying this to support Carnival 100%, even though all of you guys know that I've been a Carnival guy all my life as far as cruises go. That's about 70% of my cruises have been on Carnival. But anyway, they've announced that it will operate its largest Bermuda season ever in 2019 and 20, with more than 40 voyages, including 8 week-long cruises departing from Baltimore and Charleston next year. In total, 6 different Carnival ships, the Breeze, Magic, Pride, Radiance, Sunshine, and Sunrise, will offer 4 to 9 day Bermuda cruises from 5 home ports along the eastern seaboard between now and next year. So if you cruised a lot like I have, you've been to Bermuda before. I like Bermuda. I enjoy going there. I will be happy to go back there. A lot of Carnival stuff going on in Bermuda. Of course, I'm still of the belief that one of these days you're going to start seeing the cruise lines do a land and sea deal where you go on a cruise for 4, 5, 6 days. You go to one of the private islands or to a place like Bermuda. You get off the ship, you stay for 4 or 5 days. Another ship comes back and picks you up and takes you for 3 or 4 or 5 days on a cruise and back to your home port. I think that's going to happen somewhere in the future, similar in some ways to the way like Holland America does their land and sea packages on Alaska cruises. But I think that's something that we're going to see happen a lot. And finally, the last story of the day, and it concerns Carnival as well. They have part of this. I'm sure you probably saw the end of last week because it was widely publicized. But Carnival Cruise Line has partnered with Clean the World to donate nearly 40 tons of recycled soap from their cruise ship. The discarded soap will be collected each year to be recycled into new soap bars and distributed to vulnerable communities worldwide. Clean the World is a global health leader in WASH, W-A-S-H, water, sanitation, and hygiene, and sustainability dedicated to saving lives by recycling and distributing soap and other hygiene products to more than 127 countries. You know, folks, this just makes good sense. How many times have you used one of the little hotel bars of soap, the little jobbies wrapped in paper? We don't get them at home because they're too small. We buy big bars of soap and have them in the shower at home. But in hotels and on cruise ships, they've got the little small things, and you use them once or twice, and they get thrown away. So now they're starting to put them back together and reuse them for people that need them. So that's great. Good move on Carnival's part. All in favor of anything that helps our environment and still allows us to cruise as much as possible. That's it for today. Again, I apologize for not being on my schedule this morning, as when I'm supposed to be live, I will be in the middle of a very important business meeting. But I'll be back and see you guys on Thursday at 10 o'clock. I will try to get back on my normal schedule this week. So for now, keep in mind, if you would, hit a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. Or hit a thumbs down if you don't like what I'm doing. That's fine too. Check out the links and stuff in the description of this. And as always, we regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, including the latest in cruise ships, ports of call cruises themselves, Chillie chats when I do interviews, and of course, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with travel and cruise industry news. Subscribe on the little button down in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification system. You'll be notified as soon as I go live or post a new video. For now, this is Chillie, the fat travel guide, needing a little sleep, actually, but we'll see you on Thursday at 10 a.m. This is Chilliefalls with Chillie Cruises. Later, y'all.